What does being a friend really mean to you? When was the last time you showed up? Not with a double tap on Instagram or social media, not with a quick, oh, you good, but with actual real presence. I'll wait. Yeah, we don't ask ourselves those questions enough. But the truth is, our friendships shape everything. They influence our mental health, our joy, and even how we see ourselves. Welcome back, guys, to the LovedBY channel. I'm Adria, and this is our space where we talk, healing, and everything in between. And this was like a very high in demand topic that I really wanted to start discussing today. So I'm extremely excited about this. I'm still a little under the weather, but bear with me, guys. I guess I sound okay. And let's be honest, friendships today don't look like the ones our parents or grandparents once had, right? We're balancing school, careers, parenting, side hustles, social media, and friendships have to somehow fit in between all of that. So today we're going to be unpacking modern day friendships, what it means, how it looks, how we outgrow it, and how to keep it alive in a healthy, balanced way. Well, let's pause and reflect. What is a friend? Is it someone who likes your post or shows up only when it's convenient? Or is it someone who stands by you during your hardest moments, offering real support? Someone who celebrates your wins and sits with you in your struggles. A true friend is someone you can be vulnerable with, someone who sees you, not not just your highlights, but your struggles, your fears, your joys, the things you don't post online. Now, let's talk about perspective. Friendship isn't one size fits all, right? In some cultures, friendship equals lifelong loyalty. Like you have to be my ride or die, no matter what. It's scarce, almost like an unspoken contract to always be there for each other. Other people see friendships as chosen family, a bond you consciously build with people who align with your values outside of your traditional ties. Both views are valid, but both comes with their own challenges, right? And generationally, we're seeing shifts too, especially in millennials and Gen Z, often prioritize friendships that are emotionally nurturing and flexible and not having such strict rules, like whatever fits and whatever works for them. While other generations might lean more on that loyalty and obligation. That doesn't make one better than the other. It just means our expectations and ways of connecting can be very different. But let me ask you, how are we showing up in our friendships? And I really want to stay with that question because I think it's so important to understand, like, how are you actually showing up in your friendships? Are we really present? Are we just waiting for someone else to initiate it? Are we showing up only in the easy moments and we're nowhere to be found in the hard ones? Or we're there in the hard ones, but kind of like in a shadow. So you're kind of just like checking in. Oh, you're okay? Okay, good. And then you can just say, well, I checked in on you, or you forgot. Or Are we actually willing to stand in the mess with our friends? Are we actually willing and able to be there, to truly be there for our friendships? When was the last time you checked in on a friend just to ask, how are you doing, without expecting anything in return? Not a text for a favor, not a meme for a laugh, but a deep, real check in. Like you're really checking to see how your friend is actually doing. And sometimes it just needs that one message where a person just needed that. They just needed to feel some sort of validation from someone else. They just needed to feel seen from someone, especially from a friend. And let's be honest, showing up looks different for men and women. Society often teaches women to be emotionally available, to nurture, and to connect. And for men, vulnerability is less encouraged, right? Friendships can become activity based. Like, let's go play ball together, let's go watch a game, let's go grab some drinks. But deep friendships actually require the checking in, right? With the heart, like being intentional, asking, how are you doing? How's your spirit? What one thing I started doing, especially with my brothers, was asking, how are you doing mentally, emotionally, and physically? Instead of just a quick, and I don't do that every single day, of course not. That'll be probably drive people crazy. But I do that periodically, maybe once a month or so, where I'll just do a quick checkup. Like, I really want to know where you are emotionally. How's your mental health doing? And how are you physically doing? How are you feeling? And that's that. And it works, and it doesn't have to be a prolonged conversation, but as long as it's being done, right? And a true friend, no matter the gender, is someone who listens, celebrates, and holds space for you, right? And shows up even when it's inconvenient. That standard we should hold ourselves to. So think about this. Do I feel seen? Do I feel safe with this person? Am I performing a version of myself? Is it just convenient? If, let's say, the group chats, there was no group chats, there were no hangouts, would this friendship survive? And most importantly, am I the kind of friend I want to have? And that right there is so strong for me, because a lot of the times we're just projecting, right? So, like, oh, well, they weren't like that with me, and they're not being this good friend to me, and everything is me, 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 me. However, are we taking a moment to reflect and think about how are we showing up in our friendships? Do I want to have myself as a friend? And when I actually think about it, I would love to have myself as a friend. No, seriously, because again, you once you're processing, you're reflecting, and you're fixing different things, right? One thing I learned from a friend was getting different things that you like from different friends, right? And not everyone is the same, of course not, but you can learn something from each friend, and just connecting it will help you become a better friend, right? And if any of these questions stirred something inside you, take a moment, jot it down, reflect. I want you guys to reflect a little later. Awareness is the first step toward bigger, deeper, more meaningful friendships. And as you're doing that, don't forget to subscribe. So we know friendship today doesn't look like it used to, right? We don't always have hours to sit and talk over coffee or dinner or lunch. Instead, it's built in like little micro moments. So that could mean like sending each other a meme or a playlist or a quick voice note. And those quick voice notes turn into like 20-minute voice notes. So, and guess what? Those are little touches and those are little moments that actually do matter. And you guys know that I love sharing stats. So, of course, I had to share some stats with y'all. So, recent studies show that 42% of Americans feel they're not as close to their friends as they'd like to be. Even though most of us are texting, DMing, or tagging friends constantly, there's still some sort of void where people still don't feel that closeness. And I think that that void comes because of social media, right? I know that social media, of course, helps us stay connected, but just because you see someone's story doesn't mean you really know what's going on in their life. So for me, social media is like a show, right? And you close the curtain and that's it. That's all you're going to see with the in the show. You open the curtain and show gets started again, you close it. So like in social media, you are allowing people what you want them to see. And once that curtain is closed, that's it. You're done. So there is no real connection. Where is that connection? Just because, we have all of these friends on social media, but within all of those friends in social media, right? Like your social followers, who are you really connecting with? And outside of that, connection is more than just likes and comments. And think about it. When was the last time you actually asked a friend, again, how are you doing? Not just a quick emoji or a sticker, but the deep, meaningful question, how are you actually doing? A lot of us are creating our own chosen family, right? So circles of people that feel like home to us, especially when blood doesn't always fill that role. These are the people we celebrate with, show up for, and lean on. And for men, this is huge. Male friendships often stay surface level, but when a man checks in with his boy, and if he says something like, bro, you're good, or I'm proud of you, that hits differently. And that kind of presence can be life changing for that man. And another stat for y'all to consider is studies have found that men are significantly less likely than women to have intimate friendships. And that's pretty sad because we need friends. And think about it, missing a dinner party or hanging out doesn't end a friendship, and it shouldn't. And if it does, yikes. Real friendships bend with life. It doesn't break at the first time something comes up. The bond survives because it's rooting in understanding and grace. So let me ask you guys something. Who in your circle gives you grace when life gets hectic? Who shows up without judgment? And when was the last time you did the same for them? So it's important as we're going through and we're reflecting and thinking about things is, are we showing up for people the way that we want them to show up for us? What happens when we outgrow our friends? I know it's sad. It could feel like a breakup, a disconnect, and even like rejection. And the truth is that it's normal. It's part of life. Growth sometimes means that you guys have to split and this person is not a part of your story. They were a part of a chapter, and maybe the split might happen and maybe they'll come back into your story and maybe they won't. But that's part of life, unfortunately. And I wanted to dive into some stats before we understand what happens when we are outgrowing our friendships. And research has shows us that 1 in 3 adults report losing touch with close friends over the past 5 years due to life changes. So, either moving, new jobs, relationships, or just growing into different versions of themselves. So, again, sometimes that might look like they're just not a part of you for that moment. And you can always like reflect back and appreciate that friendship. But it's also important to also grieve it and process it and reflect. So, how do you know, right? Like, how do you know that you are outgrowing a friendship or you've outgrown a friendship? Here are some signs for you guys to consider. You leave interactions feeling drained instead of energized. Conversations feel surface level or forced. The friendship lives mostly in old memories, the inside jokes from high school or inside jokes from a few years ago, the trips you took, the things that used to connect you. But where is the connection now? Where is the connection today? How has this friendship evolved? And it doesn't make you a bad friend. It just means your growth isn't aligned anymore. That's all. And culturally, we're taught to stay loyal, right? Even when it's hurting us. Letting go can feel like betrayal, but you have to ask yourself, am I holding on out of love or out of fear of being alone? Am I holding on to who this person was or who they are now? And this can be so tricky for men, especially since society doesn't often give men permission to outgrow friendships. So many hang on out of habits. But men deserve evolving friendships that grow as they grow. And studies show us that over 40% of adults say they have at least one friendship that faded because of personal growth or life changes. This is the part of the human experience. Like, we're all humans. It doesn't mean that we failed. It just means that life is going on, and some people stick, and some people unfortunately get dropped. Some people are not a part of the long term mission or the long term journey. Ask yourself, am I holding on because of love or because of guilt? Is this friendship uplifting me or is it keeping me stuck? Who am I growing into, and do my friendships support that growth? And as you're thinking about those questions, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on one friendship you've outgrown or are growing away from. You don't have to cut anyone off, but you can honor your growth by setting healthy boundaries, letting go with love, or simply allowing that space, allowing that evolution, and just knowing that it is okay. It is okay if you are outgrowing or have outgrown a friendship. And friendship requires balancing, right? So giving, receiving, and protecting your own energy all at the same time. And here's something we often miss: we don't give our friends the same grace we give our romantic partners or family. We put so much pressure on them to always show up and never disappoint. So, how do we show up intentionally without burning out ourselves or our friends? How do we keep that spark alive while respecting our own capacity? Boundaries aren't walls. Saying no to a last minute invite doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't make you a bad friend. It means you know your limits. I remember when I was much younger and saying no was like, you'll definitely get canceled. You'll be called a bad friend. Missing a birthday, missing some sort of event made you a bad friend, but it's like, what else? I've shown up in many other ways. And it's okay to know your limits. Boundaries actually allow you to show up fully when you do say yes. So if you're just constantly just going with the flow and yes, 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 and then you actually don't even feel it, right? You're not listening to your body, you're not listening to your own boundaries. And then you show up to things and you either have an attitude, your energy is off, and you start having some sort of resentment towards friends. Why? When you could have just said no. It's okay. It is completely okay to say no. And I've definitely have learned that throughout the years. If it does not sit well with me, if I have different things going on and I just could not commit to that, then guess what? It's a no for me. Think about it. How often do we unconsciously expect perfection from our friends? When we impose those expectations, when we add pressure, and then slowly our bonds begin to shift. And here's a quick test. Does this friendship allow you to rest, or does it leave you restless? Are you both celebrating each other, or is it one sided? A healthy relationship lifts you up instead of weighing you down. And for men, especially, this is important. Society tells men to always show up, no excuses. But true friendships allow space and honesty. Saying, I can't be there right now, doesn't weaken the bonds, it builds trust. Balance also means showing up intentionally. Small gestures matter, checking in, sharing a moment, and sharing a memory, sending a voice note just to say you care. It's about it's not about grand gestures. It's about consistency and thoughtfulness and in the details. This is how friendships stay vibrant and meaningful. It's saying, I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being yourself. Thank you for continuing to love me and me as a person. I think it's so important to express that. And of course, you guys know that I love to share stats. So here's one. People who regularly engage in intentional friendships, activities like weekly check ins or shared hobbies report 25% higher satisfaction in their social lives. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So you're checking in, you're doing things, maybe scheduling a brunch 6 months in advance because obviously, we're all so busy. But no, seriously, checking in, setting up the brunch, setting up the phone call, reviewing, just doing things and doing things together. And ask yourself, am I holding my friends to a higher standard than I hold myself and or my spouse, my significant other? How can I show up more intentionally? Where could I give a little more grace or set one small boundaries with love? Take a moment. What's one boundary you can set this week in a friendship? And how would it sound if you said it with love? Maybe something like, I can't make it tonight, but I want to catch up later. Small intentional actions keep the spark alive and show your friends they matter. It's so important for people to feel love. And yay, my favorite part. Yes. Okay, so I'll be obviously doing you guys a disservice if I didn't share some tools that have worked for me in the past. Y'all know I have to put you on, obviously. So today we're building a friendship toolkit. Don't be rolling your eyes because you're going to obviously download it and use it and save it. And I want us to obviously be intentional. And I want us to just build and have better friendships and just be able to just connect with each other, but have meaningful connections with each other, not just surface level, okay? Because, like, anyone who knows me knows that I hate small talk. Don't just ask me how I'm doing and that's that. Like, I need to know. I want to know more. So, here we go. Yay. Tool number one is small check ins. And that looks like moments matter. So send a meme that made you think of them. Leave a short voice note. Don't make it a 20-minute voice note, please. And I'm saying that for myself. Drop a quick text. You don't need hours, you just need presence. These small gestures remind your friends they're seen, they're thought of, and they're cared for. And studies will show us that people who consistently check in with friends report higher emotional well being and stronger social bonds. That's the power of small acts, and we need each other. So, like, don't go in and canceling your friends unless they're like super toxic. But, anywho, that is conversation for another day. Tool number two is repair, not perfection. Okay. So, we all slip up, miss plans, saying the wrong thing, and not owning it, but we're ready to own it. Don't ghost, don't over apologize, just repair. Something as simple as, hey, I'm sorry that I missed whatever it was, and I know that it was valuable for you. That right there goes a long way. I value you. Goes a long way. Repair is love in action. Boundaries are love. Boundaries protect your friendships. Saying no doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're protecting your ability to say yes meaningfully when it counts. Honor your no so your yes can shine. Tool number four, audit your circles. Okay, so take a real look at your friendships. Who lifts you up? Who drains your energy? And really, really think about it. You don't have to cut anyone off, but awareness is everything. And this helps you focus your time and energy where it matters the most. And tool number five is rituals of connection. So, how are we going to be connecting with people? And that might look like creating consistent habits that keep you close. Maybe it's a monthly phone call, a shared playlist, a weekly text check in, something that someone understands that they matter, even when life gets a little chaotic. And for men, that already exists with them, right? And that's where they'll text each other and they'll say, like, let's go play ball together, let's have poker night, let's have a game night. But here's the layer that deepens the bond. Instead of only asking how's work, try asking and checking in. How are you really doing? Is there anything that you need from me? How can I show up for you? And that's how you move from surface level to a real soul level friendship, the friendship that feels like home to you. Ask yourself, which one of these tools can I start practicing this week? Remember, you don't have to do all of them at once. One intentional action, because we're working on being intentional. So we don't have to do every single one back to back every single day. We don't. It starts with being intentional. And then from there, the shift will happen in our friendships. So I want you guys to pick one tool from the toolkit and put it into work this week. And send me some memes, send me the schedule. I just want to hear it. Comment below. I want to know what is going on. I want to know what small steps you took to lead a stronger, healthier, and more meaningful friendship. Remember, we're not here for small talk. So,
We're not here for
today we've explored what it means to be a true friend. And in case I missed anything or something else that you guys wanted to add onto that, please let me know. Send me a comment, send me a DM, send me something. It's just so that we can continue to grow in our friendships, how our friendships look in generation, what it feels to outgrow people, how to create balance and boundaries. And of course, I've shared my amazing friendship toolkit and practical ways to show up intentionally, repair and keep your friendships alive. We talked about giving our friends grace, showing up with intention, and even how men can deepen friendships by asking, how are you doing? What do you need? Instead of just housework. And by the way, people do not like hearing folks ask them, oh, housework. That is probably the worst and most cringing question that people ask others. And just letting y'all know, people do not like hearing that. Okay. Friendship isn't about the quantity of people in your life, it's about the quality of love and care you exchange to each other. It's about feeling safe, celebrated, and seen. And it's not like any relationship, it takes intention, effort, and sometimes courage to keep it alive. It's about holding each other accountable and also celebrating each other. Remember, friendships shape our mental health, our joy, and even how we see ourselves. So, show up matters, not just for them, but for you too. And here's what I want you to do: pick one friend, send them a message, a meme, a voice note, something small that reminds them that they matter. Or if there's a friendship you've outgrown, reflect and learn from it. One small step is all it takes to honor your friendship and your growth. And again, this is it, my amazing people. Thank you for tuning into Love My channel, where we keep it real, we heal, and we grow together. And until next time, don't forget to spread love, stay grounded, and be intentional.